would be possibly taking Baltimore or Philadelphia. But the problem is, Lee has written his orders for his invasion of Maryland, and he has split his army. Part of it, under Stonewall Jackson, has taken Harper's Ferry. This is the largest surrender of American forces until World War II. So about 12,000 American or U.S. soldiers are surrendered to Stonewall. So Stonewall is at Harper's Ferry, and he is paroling these 12,000 prisoners. It's taken a long time to do this. Well, Lee has the other portion of the army with he and James Longstreet at Monocacy, right across from the Visitor Center. In early September of 1862, one of Lee's orders is found by a Union soldier. Of course, runs it up the ladder to McClellan. So now McClellan knows Lee's plan is going to be the aggressor. He's going to actually move. So he's trying to get to Lee's portion of the army to beat Lee and then turn and beat Jackson. So to do that, first off, Lee realizes, Lee learns that his orders have been found, so he basically calls off any sort of advance into Maryland. He's got to get his army together, and then from there he'll make his next move. So a few days, 3 days before the Battle of Antietam, McClellan will fight the Battle of South Mountain. The goal, of course, for Lee's men here is to buy time. They're able to hold McClellan off for about just that one day. Lee's outnumbered almost 10-1 at some of these passes where McClellan's men are trying to come through. So because of this, Lee is able to absorb the blows a little better and shift men as he needs to do so. So on the northern side, then we'll have the central side, and then we'll get to the southern side. So Stonewall Jackson has brought some of his men from Harper's Ferry, so some of that army is coming. So they set up on the northern side. Those are the guys who get hit early in the battle. He's finished paroling the prisoners, and he arrives literally at the moment that the Union line is breaking the Confederate line. So Antietam basically becomes a stalemate. There's not really any clear victor. But I wanted to point out, as we're about to go up over South Mountain, the importance of this mountain.
Coming down off of South Mountain, and it was quite a mountain. My ears even popped.
Pictures everywhere, but there's some very famous pictures of Confederate dead just in front of the Dunker Church. That's one of the back. That's at Gettysburg. That was actually crossed into the body.
At Second Manassas, he looks north and sees Maryland, a border state. On the 9th of September, while in Frederick, Robert E. Lee looks over his shoulder and, why are these people still here? Why are they still in Harper's Ferry? We can't have them there in the middle of our supply line. Capitulation of Harper's Ferry, which will open that communication line. Other elements of his army will move up toward Hagerstown, about 10 miles to the north, into Longstreet, and kind of scout the way ahead a little bit. There's all kinds of different reasons we read that he's gone up there. 4 miles north-south, the Antietam Creek. Antietam Creek would be off to the east. The Confederate Army is separated. If we were Robert E. Lee standing here today, we can get a sense for how scattered this army is. Fraction of my army
north,
scouting the way north and Longstreet, and I've got another smaller portion on South Mountain. I can see how separated.
Way over there.
Look how far away off high ground.
High ground. And
Town
they got
Pike.
a road over there.
I can move my troops north to south, wherever the threat is. Put his army, his right southern flank, against this bend in the Antietam Creek, where there's a ford called Snaverly. From the crack of dawn till 10 o'clock in the morning, 40,000 men will make war on each other within a half a square mile of where we're sitting. 13,000 casualties, 4 hours of fighting. That's more than D-Day.
There's a whole bunch of monuments down this street. Texas Memorial.
Union sharpshooters, or Union troops taking it over and putting sharpshooters up in the upper floors and picking off Confederate artillerymen at the visitor center area. I'm sure you can see how concerned that they would be with that.
This farmhouse
And
was
so
totally
they burned
destroyed.
it, and they evacuated this area. They burned it to the ground. So we know the Confederates are down here, and our flank is up here by the visitor center, then our flank is in peril. So we need to investigate to make sure that our flank is secure. You see the ridge lines of that small ridge right where the I guess that's alfalfa or early corn. You see the top of those ridges, right? So The Union will have to attack over those ridges. 13,000 casualties. This is going to go on from 10 to about 12:30, another 5,000 casualties. To a Confederate, though, you know, you have to understand why this fight is going to be so personal. If you were a Confederate down in this sunken road down here, all morning long, what have you heard to your north? Confederates down here in this part, and the Confederates will abandon this road about 12:30 and retreat back toward the Piper Farm behind us and set up a secondary defense.
Steep. I hate to be trying to climb up
Now
this in the middle of a battle.
It is surmised that McClellan, the Union battle plan, would have General Burnside and his 9th Corps demonstrate against this bridge, covering his flank.
Lee.
Who does that? Only audacious General Lee.
So this is a Burnside Bridge. There's a road over there. We can't see a road over here. I can even see water under the bridge. There's the creek. There's the road. And there's some of our people who are walking along there. You can see battlefield markers on the far side. This is Sharpsburg.
Who won this battle? Yeah, I mean it's a contentious question. Where the battles were almost the same. They fought a battle. They sat in their trenches they sat on their arms for the next day, and then Lee retreated back to Virginia. Did he accomplish any of that?
No.
So he leaves his dead and wounded on the field and retreats back to Virginia. I can't call that a victory. So to me, if A.P. Hill hadn't have showed up when he did, it would have been a 25-0 victory for McClellan. The fact that A.P. Hill showed up, I call it 1-0. That is looked for in that day and age. Your enemy's king on the head of my pike, right? And it's a patient proclamation,
Very
which
bad
I'm sure
for the
that
Confederates.
Lee was not anticipating. Okay. So.
This is a Maryland monument. Bloodiest day in American history.
Had begun. A victory could possibly win the war and divide the United States forever. And to capture the federal garrison at Harper's Ferry, the main body of Lee's army in Maryland was exposed. McClellan went on the attack. On September 14th, in an all-day battle at South Mountain, Federal forces drove Lee's troops out of 3 mountain passes as they attended Sunday morning church services, positioning his force of approximately 60,000 troops near Sharpsburg along Antietam Creek. McClellan's plan was to attack the Confederate left and right flanks, then smash through the center of Lee's line. Moved through a field of tall corn.
And at the command fire, a rolling volley blasted forth.
Had been killed or wounded in and around the cornfield.
Musketry went through the regiment, killing some, wounding many. To hold them longer under fire would be murder. I
These were
back to the
rookie
Eastwoods.
U.S. troops.
This sunken road for the Federal advance